Right then. How's everyone doing? This is it's actual content on my channel for the first time in months, and that's not a stream. So pretty simple what we're doing today. I'm just gonna go through what I'd do against City and how to beat them, because that's the game tomorrow. Enjoy. Right, so I think City are gonna line up. So Henderson in between the sticks. Don't expect anything else, to be honest. One of the best goalkeepers in the league. They're best, no question really. Then centre half, you're looking no further than Stones and Diaz. Imperious form recently. There's been no breaking them down. Solid defence. Now fullback, I think you could see any of Walker, Cancelo, and Zinchenko. I think the strongest lineup they can go with though is Walker and Cancelo, and I'll get into that more in a little bit. Midfield three, I think you're expecting to see Rodri, De Bruyne, and Gundogan. I think Rodri's one of the best DMs in the league. Great six, good at recycling the ball, keeps possession well, moves it on, does his job. Gundogan, sensational form as of recent. You know, I'd say he's one of the best midfielders in the league on form, easily. And then De Bruyne, in a league of his own, like, his quality is insane, and you'll see a lot of that. Now, the front three that I think Pep will go for is Sterling on the right, Foden on the left, and Jesus up front. I think with Aguero coming back, that he's just getting rested in, so I don't think Aguero will start as well. I think it'll be Jesus up front. Then Sterling on the right, Foden on the left. I think that's going to offer more width. It'll definitely create more chances for the eights to go forward, as well as Cancelo and Walker, which we know they like to do. I think he'll start Sterling on the... yeah, Sterling will start on the right because of his tussles with Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka usually gets the better. So I think it'll give him a different challenge, and Foden from the left, I mean, the space he's going to create, because he's not really a wide left winger, he'll float around. So I think that's what Pep's going to do to try and break down the low block that I think we will employ. Right, so this is how I'd set United up. So in net, Dean Henderson. Honestly, not much difference between him and De Gea. I think he's a bit better with his feet, and at the moment that's the only real option you've got there since De Gea's out with his child. Big up Yanni, I think that's what he's called her. Bless him. Alright, so then we've gone for a back three of Bailly, Maguire and Shaw. Now I've done this for many reasons. First, we'll go with that. City often attack going through all 5 channels, and if you're playing a back four, that means the half spaces are often really advantageous for them to press, whereas it'd be Gundogan making runs in there, De Bruyne. You can also have forwards such as Sterling and Foden making the run in there. So if you've got a 3 at the back with your T fullbacks, that can block those channels up and make it harder for them to get through, and you're basically going man-to-man defending, which in a game like this I think is going to be very important. So I've gone with Bailly over Lindelof for just his natural defending ability, to be honest with you. He's quick, he's really good at defending, really. He's also underrated on the ball, I'd like to say. He's not as good at as Lindelof, which is why I do have a second 11 I might suggest. And then next to Bailly, we've gone with Maguire because he's going to start. I think he's not the best leader, but for what we need him to be, he does work. I think if City start spamming crosses in with De Bruyne from the right-hand side, per se, he'll win at every aerial duel. And then I think, for me personally, I'd go with Shaw left centre-half, because I think you close down the threat they're going to offer on the right, and it also allows you more freedom going forward, because as you'll see next to him, I've got Tellers at left wing-back, and I think those two could have a good tangent going forward, because Shaw can overlap and just create overloads in areas of the pitch, which I think will be very beneficial to the team. So yeah, that's why I've got Shaw in there as a third centre-back, but also he's got the licence to go forward and create space further up the pitch. That's why we've also gone with Tellers in there, because I think Tellers going forward, he's going to be an outlet for us. So I think if you can play on the width but also have a decent left back there, then you're going to have a good chance of winning this game, as well as stretching it. And then to complete the back 5, you got Wan-Bissaka on the right hand side. I think, well, this season realistically I'd say he's improved going forward, so he's not that detrimental being out there, but also in this game we're going to have about 30% possession, so I think having a great defensive fullback out there that's going to stop balls coming in, help stop overlaps, and just just be a defensive rock for us, I think is going to be very beneficial. I think also having him and Bailly over there means he's allowed to be a bit more adventurous going forward, with Bailly having the pace to cover him. I did originally consider having Bailly and Trraavvv in there, but I've never seen either of them play in the left-hand side of a back three, or the left-hand side of a back two either, so I didn't really trust that. So that's why we've just gone with Bailly, and to be fair, Shaw can cover him behind for Tellers quite well. So that's the back five we've gone with. Alternatively, hopefully I flash up on the screen, I think you can go with Bailly, Maguire and Lindelof in a back three, and use Lindelof's passing range to, as well as Maguire's, to try and find the front two that we've got, and the fullbacks if they bow on, which we can get to later, because I think both of them having that long passing range is a good outlet out, and it definitely worries City into dropping back a bit more, which would be highly beneficial for us. So then, the midfield two we've gone with... There's no one else really, but we've had to go with McTominay and Fred. So I think both of them have their own attributes. I think Fred's, he's not even great at bowling, but he's just got energy. And I think energy is needed in a game like this. I think how he moves around the pitch, his low centre of gravity really benefits him into getting into tackles, and he's not the most muscly strong player, but he's able to get plays off the ball just using his surroundings, which I think is quite beneficial to us, and he'll break up the play a lot, which is what we need. He's also again going to be able to go into that left space, and just cover that area. So if Tellers is caught out of position, Fred can do a good job there if Shaw doesn't go out. Oh, I forgot to mention this about the back four, but with the back five, back four, it can transition very easily into a 4-2-3-1. Which is Ollie's preferred formation. So I think you'll see a lot of interchanging with this. I mean, this is how I'd set it up, so I'd also do this because of the interchanging you can have, and it makes you really flexible and unpredictable, with Tellers acting as a false left winger basically. Alright, back to the midfield two. So with Fred, you've also got McTominay. I think McTominay also does a good job at breaking up play. He's decent going forward. Not great, but I'd say he's got a good progressive run on him, and that's going to be beneficial in trying to break the lines. I think you'll see Maguire doing this as well. They'll get the ball and they'll dribble forward and try and get the ball up the pitch to Bruno as quick as possible. So I think these two being in the midfield too, screening that back three, really stopping City's play and breaking them up is going to be highly, highly beneficial to us in the opening stretches and going throughout the game, to be honest with you. Now, in my opinion, in this game, I personally wouldn't set up with a striker, which is why, as you'll see on the formation on screen, how it's Bruno and then James and Rashford. Now, for me, Bruno has to start. He's top three players in the league, absolutely sensational. I know against the top six, he might not have looked to have performed as well, but I think that's more on the whole team than just him, because we look for him a lot. So in this game, with him there, it's a 10/a false 9 position. I'd just like to see him hovering around Rodri, because I think if you can disrupt Rodri's play, if we end up pressing, which I don't think we should do, but say if we press off the start to try and make them go into a poor position or whatever, I think Bruno's going to be very important. What I'd like to see him do in this game is, I don't want to demean Lingard, but the Lingard role in just providing energy and pressing, which is why I've got the front three that I have. And I think with Bruno in between the lines, it's going to create a bit of danger in the sense of City's team thinking, where is it? And they're not going to be as adventurous going forward. So I think by using him in a false position, you can take out certain elements of the game. And that it doesn't create as much doubt in City centre-backs because you're not there. But I think if you can use Bruno to pull one of them out, then we can get it into one of the two forwards. So on the left, I've gone with Rashford because it's a big game. It's Rashford. He's going to start. And honestly, he's a sensational player. And people that don't understand how good he is, I don't understand. But in this game, I want to see him hold that left half space and just between the fullback and the centre half and just play there, because I think that's how we're going to pin him back, because Rashford's one of the quickest forwards in the league and you don't want to give him that space. And with Stones and Diaz, one of their negatives is they're not very quick. So if we can drop deep, have them come onto us, I think leave all that space behind, we'll be able to run onto that with ease, and that's going to benefit Rashford. And not only Rashford, it's also going to benefit the right winger we've gone with, which is James. Now, James is there for literally pure counter-attacking purposes, as well as I think recently he's been in good form, and with him on the right, I think he's going to hold his width well, which is what we're going to need to try and stretch the pitch and make as much space as possible for our centre-halves to lob balls basically straight into their path, because I think that's how you exploit them. I also think James has got good work rate, so his press is going to be important when we need it. I also think that his defensive work rate is good enough to where if they're, say, sending Cancelo forward, so it'd be Cancelo, Gundogan and Foden on that side, all creating little passing triangles, I think having Bailly, Wan-Bissaka and then James can track back into from a wide right position, as well as having McTominay there to shuttle across. I think that's going to help massively in disrupting the play and just being defensive, and that can also come into where it shifts into a bit of a 4-2-3-1. So it just depends how you've set it up really, which is what I'd go for. Now I think that's the best way to do it. I'd also see the reason I'm going for E5 here is because the way City are going to create space if they can't break us through the middle, which I don't think they're going to be able to if we have Fred and McTominay there doing the job, is they're going to switch the play over and over again to try and hopefully someone loses concentration, they can break in behind. So the idea of having a back five means there's less space in behind, and therefore you don't have to move as far to close your man down, which means we're more defensively solid while still having the threat on the break of one ball into the path of James or Rashford. And if we can hopefully use those two to pin their fullbacks back a bit more, we'll have a bit more space in midfield to try and get the ball into Bruno, and then our fullbacks can also advance up the pitch. And we're already quite well good, Jesus, that's poor English. We're quite developed at like counter-attacking plays, so I think our one-touch passing is quite good. So once we're going forward counter-attacking, I think we'll be able to get in behind really quick. Now on these little animations I've put together, I think you'll be able to see this more effectively. So as you can see on the one on the screen currently, Diaz plays the ball out to the spare man Walker, which is how I think we should set the pressing trap up, and that allows Telles to go forward, get the ball and play into James. Now obviously this is quite a simplistic way to look at it, but that's one example, and then hopefully here we will switch to the second. Now on the second animation I've managed to put together here, you'll see that Diaz plays a penetrative pass up into Foden, who managed to find Cancelo, but because of the shape we play in here and how the shuttle isn't moving across, they're having to play around quite a lot, and so it's creating space. And again, on this instance, Telles wins the ball back, and you can see he's got an option to go to Rashford or out to James. Now, this is what this shape allows you to do. I also believe that Telles has got the passing range to be able to find James in that position and set the counter-attack forward, but it's going to take a lot of hard work from the players in order to maintain the shape and keep shuttling across and denying space for the City players to get into. Now, my last note on how I've set the team up is that because you've got basically two left-backs playing, I think at half-time if things aren't working, then it's quite easy to take one of those off and switch your shape. Instead of, well, to be fair, you could just take a centre-half off if you played the back three. But I think realistically taking a full-back off instead of taking off one of your centre-halves is going to be a lot more beneficial in terms of like team balance and stuff. And personally, I just think that's how it's set up. So if you've got any questions or anything like that, leave them below. I could have gone into more detail on things like pressing traps, pressing structures, different set-piece approaches and stuff like that. So if you'd like to see me do stuff like that, I just said it again, in the future, then let me know and I can go into more detail and like some tactical bits of the game that you might not be aware of or that you might like to see. Obviously this is like my first time doing one of these, so it's not been amazing to be honest, and I'm sure like the more I do, the more we'll improve together. So if you did enjoy that video, please leave some feedback in the comments, say like and subscribe, but I don't really care, just let me know your opinions on all that. If you think there's anything I missed or if I made a stupid mistake, please tell me, because I'm not like a coach or anything. I mean, I want to be, but we're just working on that as we go along. So hope you enjoy your day. Bye bye.